Hey everyone, it's Brad and Josh here, and we welcome you to We'll Bring the Popcorn, the ultimate film and TV podcast. So I want to head into our first review, which is Wednesday Season 2. So we've waited, 3 years since Season 1 to get this, and it picks up kind of the summer break heading into Year 2 at Nevermore Academy. Wednesday has figured out how to use her psychic ability, and she used it to track down a serial killer over the summer, which we are going to get into some spoilers about this because there's a lot that happened. There's a lot of stuff we have to talk about. We're going over the entire season, so if you don't want to be spoiled, as always, jump to our wrap-up review at the end that you can find in the timeline of the description to get our spoiler-free thoughts of this season. But I actually had quite a lot of fun with this season. It did feel a little off at times with some things, and it dragged a little bit at times. But overall, I thought it was a pretty fun season.
They kept it pretty short and crisp. I mean, it's 8 episodes total. Like we got a pretty solid story here. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of a follow-on to, all of the events that happened in the first season, obviously, but this is now Wednesday going back to Nevermore, and, there's a new principal who's played by the crazy over-the-top Steve Buscemi in this season, who was just a ton of fun. You could tell he had a lot of fun making this season, as well as Principal Dort here, and it's a fun ride that we go on for this. Like I know we're gonna talk about some spoilery things, but I'm trying to keep it spoiler free for now. But Wednesday goes on quite a different journey this season, because getting into spoilers, because we just can't avoid it at this point. But not only does she gain her ability to use her psychic abilities, she loses her psychic abilities too. Like, the whole story is about her being overly dependent on those abilities, kind of abusing them, and through situations that happen, she loses her ability to use it, and it's all about getting her control back here at the end. She's desperate to get it back while trying to thwart the return of Tyler, who showed up at the end of the first half, returned as the Hyde and went into the Hyde form and knocked her out the window and kind of left it on a kind of that cliffhanger at the end of the first half, where we pick right back up with her in the hospital, but she's not there very long, because in typical TV fashion, we got to get the ball rolling on this. But it was definitely a fun journey you go on in this back half for sure, because it's a lot of moving pieces in this, a lot of different things going on, but at the same time, it's still about Wednesday and her, lack of trust in literally everyone around her, and her learning to kind of accept help from other people, really. And that's kind of the crux of the back half of this season, because she was not going to get out of this situation by herself, as she finds out in some pretty interesting ways.
Yeah, because she basically becomes a celebrity at the school as well, so everyone knows her, everyone's trying to be friends, which even gets her in the eyes of a stalker who can turn invisible and go around, which gets really interesting. And I know a lot of people talked about it. That the actress who played Agnes looks so much like Christina Ricci to me. Like, it was crazy kind of how she looked, but it was a lot of fun. It tried to deal with some relationship stuff that's mostly around Enid, who's in a love triangle. That kind of stuff wasn't as important. Hopefully in season 3 they just kind of let it be. I don't know if it really needs relationship stuff in Addams Family and Wednesday, because most of it is around Morticia and Gomez when you have the love and relationship things, and they were very much not there in the first season. But season 2, Morticia gets a much bigger role, which gets Gomez around, and then Pugsley, who grew about 7 feet in between season 1 and season 2. Yeah, he has come into Nevermore Academy. He has electric powers as well. So it did feel at times a little bit like we're getting a little darker Harry Potter. Everyone has different abilities that they can do, controlling insects and lightning and, the siren songs and telekinesis and everything else. It's like it gets a little invisibility. You get a little bit dark Harry Potter feeling with it, that was okay. It was more when they got into the grittier detective kind of stuff with Wednesday of trying to figure out, because she's trying to figure out who her stalker is, but she kind of has more than one, because you realize there's someone else darker who can control ravens and do this in the background that are killing people, and she's trying to figure that out. But she's also got Agnes to deal with and her relationship with Enid, because Enid changed over the summer. She has a different feeling to her, and she has a different thought process to a lot of the stuff she does, as she's kind of coming into her own a little bit here, especially as she's dealing with her pack. And we get quite a few new teachers because of people who have died and left. So there's a lot of new that was thrown into this season.
Yeah, for sure. And you get Wednesday on her journey here, and I want to give like a little extra love to Gwendolyn Christie, who does kind of like come back here. Like, we're in full spoiler mode now, but Gwendolyn Christie does come back as, you know, her character from season 1, but now she is Wednesday's spirit guide. So she kind of shows up and she's kind of helping guide Wednesday along while also maintaining that animosity from the events that happened in season 1. And they have some fun, playful back and forth on that plays out over it. But I thought she was really fantastic in the scenes that she was in, for sure. You get a very brief cameo from, you know, Lady Gaga in this as well. Everybody was wondering what her involvement was going to be, and you do see her in this back half.
And a new song.
And you get a brand new song that is actually played out in the typical episode 7. It seems like is going to be the dance scene episode, because I believe it was the same episode that had the iconic Wednesday dance in season 1. I can't remember if it was episode 7 or not, but it might have been episode 7. But it was episode 7 of this season where you get the dance sequence with Enid and Agnes that it played out really well. It was fun. I don't think it's going to be quite as iconic as the first season, but it was still a really cool scene set to a brand new Lady Gaga song that was pretty cool and a lot of fun too. But yeah, they definitely tried to, I feel, shoehorn in the romance part of it a little bit, just because it is kind of a teen-centric, and I get it. You kind of have to have that element because, you know, that's part of the school-age drama is, you know, relationships and, you know, how fleeting they all really are and at that age.
But all they have is Enid. Like, there's really no other relationships other than Enid.
Yeah, but it's like, but like I said, it was kind of just shoehorned in for kind of a little bit of extra sauce in a couple of the episodes. But yeah, man, I had a good time with this because you realize that people you are suspicious of probably are right being suspicious of them, but then you also have the tale of Slurp, who was, you know, Pugsley's zombie that gets kind of a full character arc in this throughout this entire season. You come to find out who that zombie actually was and how integral they are by the end of the season here with everything that's going on. And I'm kind of bouncing around a little bit, but like by the time we get to the end of the season, it leaves things in a place that's very intriguing for when Wednesday season 3 is going to be coming out and some of the stuff there, because you get this whole Wednesday uncovering a lot of family secrets in this season, where you're starting to learn a little bit about the back history of the Addams family itself and things that her parents were involved in, and, you know, just her quest to not only understand her family, but everything going on around them and why things could be happening to her based on things that her parents did. And it's a very interesting way of presenting all of it that I think Tim Burton and the crew on this show have done a really good job of in keeping it interesting in the second season. And I think they did really well with it.
Yeah, you get a lot more family aspect in here because not only Morticia and Gomez are part of it, you get a little bit of Lurch, you get a backstory to Thing, you get her grandma and her Aunt Ophelia get story points and stuff progressing with here, and we also get a cult kind of being wrapped around it. Like, that was kind of the weaker part of it all. I mean, and it ties into some of the main characters, but it's kind of a side story compared to everything else that's going on that's wrapping around Wednesday and her family and everything with Slurp and what happened in the past and the skull tree and everything else. Like, all of that ended up being tied into like one little bow and wrapped up really well together. And then you had the cult kind of storyline in the background, which was fun, but it was also, I liked a cameo that ended with that, with Casper Van Dien, that you got to see towards the end of that storyline, which was a lot of fun. And to have see him show up in Wednesday, because I've been rereading the Starship Troopers book, and I still go back and revisit that movie all the time. I mean, he's done other stuff than that, but that's what everybody remembers him from. To see, I'm like, he's wearing a bad wig right now, but I know who that guy is. Yeah, I know that face. But yeah, I mean, I think the second half was much stronger than the first half, because the first half you're really trying to set up that she has her psychic powers, you're taking away, and you're setting up the mystery that there's other things going on. I also do feel like it was a little bit weaker that they did go back to Tyler and bring him back into it, and bring, you got Christina Ricci showed back up for a little bit there. You did get, I mean, I get it. You're trying to tie season 1 into it, but it gets a little bit more like, oh, this person is actually this, and this is this, and you're trying to connect the world, but it took a little bit too much. I still don't really care for the look of the hide. Like, it's not exactly the design; it's just the CG on it. It just looks off when it's up there. So just having that being a big point of it. But I will have to say, I think it was episode 6 was probably my favorite, and that's the episode where we get a Freaky Friday event where Wednesday and Eden change bodies, and it starts you right off where, Wednesday is dancing to some pop music, and you see her in the bright, colorful stuff and makeup and smiling and dancing. Like, it looked like Jenna had so much fun filming that scene. And we also got I guess I wouldn't call it a conclusion, but we get extra to a running joke that Wednesday is allergic to color. Well, we get to see that play out a little bit more here too. But that was just it was a really fun episode for that. But there was so much stuff revealed in that episode as well. Like, that was a big reveal episode as well.
Yeah, for sure. And it was right on time as far as when it was needed for just not only tie in the first half, but the setup where they were going in the last 2 episodes too. I agree. That was by far my favorite episode of the season 2. You get to see both, the actress that plays Enid and Jenna Ortega kind of showing off a little bit of extra acting chops in there, because you get Enid as, she's embodied by the spirit of Wednesday now. So she's this stoic, non-blinking, extra serious. And it's kind of fun to watch them like try to emulate each other. And I think both actresses did a phenomenal job in that. The whole Jenna bouncing around in a bright color sweater and acting basically like Enid. And you just know that was just over the top and fun, and you get to see kind of that playful side of Jenna Ortega that she doesn't really get to show in a lot of the roles that she plays. But
it's kind of crazy is that they didn't tell Emma Myers that they were doing a body swap in the episode. So she was like getting prepared to do the episode, and like the makeup people and other people talking. She's like, "What are we talking about?" And went to Jenna and was like, "What are we doing? What are we talking about? Oh, we swap bodies. Oh, I had no." So she had very little time to prepare to do it. And I think she did a fantastic job with that. But like, she came out and said, I had very little time because I didn't realize that is what was going on in that episode.
Like, we were going full bore into it, and she gave it her best effort too, because it was really well done. I had a lot of fun with that episode. But yeah, I mean, you get to the end of this season, you get the whole Hyde and, the whole that family and everything that was going on with that. And you have a very definitive conclusion to that sets up where we're going for season 3 of Wednesday, which does appear to be more focused on more secrets from the Addams family, because you have Wednesday setting off with Uncle Fester, who shows up on his motorbike with the car that she jumps in, and she now has access to her aunt's journal that her mom gave to her, and just going off on this journey to uncover more of those Addams family secrets that I think is setting up for a very interesting season 3, especially when you know who she's going after in particular and what that particular character has felt about Wednesday herself too. So some interesting back and forth family dynamics in season 3 for sure that I'm very excited about, that, in 2028 it's going to be great when we finally get it.
They said it might be 2027 when we get season 3. So we might have another item to add to 2027, but yeah, like it's been a lot of fun, and I really like some of the Easter eggs too. That's some throwbacks to not only the Addams family, because you had them verbally say Adam's Family Values and stuff, which was the name of one of the films. And you also have like Pilgrim World, and you had a lot of references to things he did in the film. There's also a nice kind of throwback to Tim Burton, because there was a stop motion animation sequence in this season as well, which, throws back to, Frankenweenie and Nightmare Before Christmas and stuff he's done before with that. So that was kind of a nice little touch to throw that in for I believe it was the Reading of the Skull Tree story was when they did that. So that was a lot of fun to see them include that. Like, I've seen some other reviewers and things talk about how it feels like they lost the thread and lost the point of the Addams Family, but I feel like this actually strengthened it from the first season, because you got so much more of Gomez and Morticia and the family dynamic that is broken, but they enjoy it, but it's also broken, but and going back and forth, because Catherine Zeta-Jones got a lot more time as Morticia. Gomez was kind of still more of a side character in it, but he got his moments. But I really liked what we got to see out of Catherine Zeta-Jones as, Morticia in this one, because we got the dynamic between her and Wednesday, and they're fighting, and her mother, and they're fighting, and other stuff like that I really felt like she finally came into her own as a character. Because in the first season, they just kind of felt like they were there, and now they're finally getting to play these very infamous characters.
Yeah, and you get added layers to these characters that make you more invested in them. That's what you want out of a show, and an opportunity to dive deeper that you don't always get in a film, but in the series now they've added these layers, and I'm excited for where they're going. Like, I really enjoyed this season. I think they definitely amped up some of the intensity a little bit in some of the scenes, some of the emotional weight too, and I'm really excited for where they go and where they take this, whole history and mystery of the family and how that plays into everything, because, it seems like once again Nevermore is in danger of not existing anymore at this point, and we're seeing if they can break away from the school, where else in the world it takes them, and what happens. What happens to all these characters we know once the school's not involved. There's also the plot line with Enid and what she's got going on, and they're setting out to quote unquote rescue her after the events of what happened in the last episode there. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see where it picks up in the tone of this next season going forward and what the theme of it's going to be.
Yeah, I can't stop still having my Hogwarts parallels, because I know Hogwarts is shut down. Nevermore is shut down. The kids are on their own outside of the school now. There's definitely a lot of parallels that can still, be had there. But yeah, it was a fun season overall. So Wednesday season 2 was an enjoyable, fun, darker, kind of a little bit more gore, more horror-like telling of Wednesday's story, but we got a lot of progression with the characters, with Wednesday having some changes, the Morticia having some changes. It does falter a few times, feeling a little bit more like Harry Potter than the Addams Family at times, but it balances that really well, especially in the second half, and there's a lot of fun to be had. I'm giving it a solid 8 overall. I think it did a really good job of bringing us deeper into the world, giving us more depth to Wednesday, having a little bit more fun with it. I kind of wish we had less of kind of the connection to the first season and bringing some characters back and having them be such a huge part of it, because I wanted a little bit more original stuff to it. But overall, it's still a solid 8.
Yeah, I'm going to give it an 8.5, just because I really enjoy the progression in the characters and, the extra layers that are giving to each of these, especially like Morticia, like you said, getting more involvement from her in this, and just really diving into this mystery around the Addams Family and their history and where we're going for potentially season 3. 8.5 is where I land on it, because, like I said, I enjoy it just as much, if not more, than season 1, but you get that depth of character development that doesn't always happen in the second season of a show, where it usually gets fleshed out so much in the first season that the second season suffers because of it. And I like that they took it and ran with it in season 2, and I'm excited for that setting up for season 3. I like where all these characters are going in this journey. It's a lot of fun, and I'm along for the ride here for sure, but 8.5 is a really solid point for me. I'm excited for season 3 when it's coming, hopefully in 2027, but if it's like the last season, it may not be until 2028. We don't know how fast they're going to get back to it, but I'm excited for the future of it. This is a definite solid follow-up to season 1. If you're a fan of the show and you haven't seen season 2, go watch it now. It's so much fun. Like, I really enjoyed it. The new Lady Gaga song is awesome. The fun dance stuff is good. The Freaky Friday episode was fun. The Harry Potter parallels don't bother me that much, but it's definitely there and noticeable if you're thinking about it, but it's still a really good teenage family drama / horror / mystery / comedy. Like, they kind of touch on a lot of genres, and it's kind of a melting pot of different things that they do a great job of mixing all of those tones together into something that's very palatable and really easy to get through watching, because most of these episodes are about an hour, but I didn't really feel like I was taking that long to watch it. Like, it's a pretty breezy watch, and if you're into binge watching, they're all out now. Go check them out and have a good time and let us know what you think.
Yeah, most of it just relies on just how good Jenna Ortega is this Wednesday. She just fits that role so well. She can do the deadpan, just morbid, dark, no emotion look and acting so well, which also made that Freaky Friday type of episode so much more enjoyable, because you're seeing her smile and laugh and dance and have fun, and she just did such a good job of being able to split those personalities so well and do her own version of Enid, which was, she is very bubbly and very over the top, so she did that very well. But I'm waiting for season 3 for Isaac, who plays Pugsley, to come back and be like 2 foot taller and have a very long beard, and he's going to look like older than Gomez when he comes back or something, because he's just out of all of the cast, I think he is the youngest, so he's the one who's still growing and still going. So that was just a huge difference between him in season 1 and season 2.
Yeah, it was definitely startling to see him in episode 1 when I'm like, good God, that's the same kid. Like, it was incredible to see the literal growth he had in that season.
Yes, we didn't really talk about about Pugsley too much in here, other than his stuff with Slurp, but we did get some growth for his character as well, because he feels like he's the outcast of the family, which they kind of enjoy that at ways, but he got that, well, his parents don't really care that much about him, cares about Wednesday more, and we actually got to see a little bit more of that depth in there, and also the darkness, because, he gets in trouble for hiding Slurp, and he has to, so which punishment do I get? Do I get the iron, I forget what he called it, but it's 2 very torture devices that really would kill somebody. Like, which one do I get? And he's so happy and smiling and everything about it. Like, Gomez is like, oh, we'll flip a coin for it. Like, okay. Like, he's so excited to get his punishment, which is classic Addams Family.
Yeah, very, very funny stuff that keeps a lot of the tone from past iterations of that, for sure. And just their open willingness to kind of sacrifice Pugsley for Wednesday is just, it's a funny dynamic for this. Obviously not in a practical real world setting, but kind of pokes fun at some of those dynamics. Like, there's always the favorite child that nobody willing to admit, but they're very open about the fact that it's Wednesday on the show. So they do have a lot of fun with that, for sure.
Yeah, but all 8 episodes of Wednesday season 2 are on Netflix right now. Go check it out. It was a ton of fun.
I loved it a lot. Definitely worth a watch for sure. To find all of the episodes of We'll Bring the Popcorn, go to our YouTube page, hit the like and subscription button so you're getting our episodes when they drop each and every Monday. If you're listening to us in the audio room on any of the podcasting platforms that we're on, please don't forget to give us a 5-star review. It really helps elevate the profile of the show. And don't forget to go to willbringthepopcorn.com, where it has all of our archive videos, all of our social media information, as well as our merch store, so you continue to support the show in that way. We cannot thank you enough for your continued support.